Do you know what's funny? The same people who laughed at you are the same people hiding in silence now. They saw your struggle and called it weakness. They mistook your patience for fear, your kindness for failure. But legends are not born in comfort. They are created in pain, betrayal, loneliness, and chaos. And now the person they ignored has become the nightmare they can't escape. Your name doesn't just enter rooms anymore. It shakes them. Because when the world tried to break you, you didn't cry. You transformed. There was a time when people looked at you and saw nothing special. They saw someone quiet, someone struggling, someone trying to survive while carrying invisible battles inside. They judged your pain without understanding it. They laughed when you failed, whispered when you fell, and doubted every dream you spoke about. To them, you looked weak. To them, your silence meant defeat. But what they never understood was that pain has a strange way of creating power. The darkest moments of life often become the birthplace of the strongest souls. Every insult became fuel. Every rejection became motivation. Every sleepless night became a lesson. While others were busy mocking you, life was secretly training you. Pain was shaping your mindset, sharpening your focus, and teaching you things comfort could never teach. You learned how to survive without support. You learned how to smile while your world was falling apart. You learned how to stand alone when everyone disappeared. That kind of pain changes a person forever. Most people break when life becomes difficult. They run away from pressure, hide from responsibility, and collapse when obstacles appear. But some people are different. Some people carry pain like fire inside their chest. Instead of letting it destroy them, they turn it into strength. They become stronger with every wound. They become wiser with every betrayal. They become fearless because life already showed them the worst. People only see success when it becomes visible. They never see the sacrifices hidden behind it. They never see the tears, the loneliness, the mental battles, or the nights spent fighting hopelessness. They only notice the glow after the storm is over. They see confidence but never the fear that existed before it. They see power but never the suffering that created it. That is why they misunderstand. Strong people. They think strength appears naturally, but real strength is built through pain. There were moments when you questioned yourself. Moments when you felt tired of fighting. Moments when giving up seemed easier than continuing. But something inside refused to die. Even when your heart was exhausted, your spirit kept moving forward. Even when nobody believed in you, you kept believing in yourself. That silent determination became your greatest weapon. Pain changes the way you see the world. It teaches you who is real and who only stays during easy times. It teaches you how temporary people can be. It teaches you that loyalty is rare and trust is dangerous. But most importantly, it teaches you your own value. When you survive difficult times alone, you stop depending on others to save you. You realize the power was always inside you. The strongest people are not the ones who had easy lives. The strongest people are the ones who survived hell and still kept going. They are the ones who turned trauma into discipline and suffering into ambition. They are the ones who walked through darkness so long that fear itself stopped affecting them. Once a person survives enough pain, and they become unstoppable because they no longer fear losing anything. People often underestimate quiet fighters. They mistake calmness for weakness because they cannot see the storm hidden inside. But quiet people are dangerous when pain transforms them. They stop seeking approval. They stop explaining themselves. They stop caring about opinions. Their focus becomes sharper, their mindset becomes colder, and their ambition becomes stronger. Pain removes distractions and reveals true purpose. Every scar carries a lesson. Every disappointment carries wisdom. Every difficult chapter carries hidden growth. The pain you once hated eventually becomes the reason for your transformation. Without those struggles, you would still be ordinary. Without betrayal, you would still trust blindly. Without failure, you would never discover your true strength. The very things meant to destroy you ended up creating a version of you that nobody can control. There is something terrifying about a person who has suffered deeply and survived. They move differently. They think differently. They no longer panic under pressure because pressure became familiar to them. They no longer fear criticism because they already survived worse. They no longer chase validation because pain taught them self-worth. Their confidence is no longer fake because it was earned through survival. Pain is not always your enemy. Sometimes pain is the fire that burns away weakness. Sometimes pain is the force that wakes up the warrior hidden inside you. The world may see scars, but scars are proof of battles survived, Every painful experience added another layer to your strength. Every difficult moment prepared you for something greater. Every struggle built the mindset that now makes you impossible to break. People fear noise because it is loud, aggressive, and impossible to ignore. But true danger has never been noise. True danger has always been silence. The quiet person in the corner, the one observing everything without speaking much, often carries the deepest thoughts and the strongest mindset. Silence is misunderstood by weak minds. They think if someone is quiet, they are afraid. They think silence means insecurity, weakness, or surrender. What they fail to understand is that silence can become the sharpest weapon a person possesses. There was a time when people expected reactions from you. They wanted anger, arguments, emotional breakdowns, and desperation. They wanted to see frustration in your eyes because it made them feel powerful. Every insult was designed to provoke you. Every betrayal was meant to break your spirit. Every act of disrespect was a challenge, waiting for you to explode. But instead of reacting, you stayed silent. Not because you were weak, but because you understood something they did not. Silence protects energy while noise wastes it. Those people reveal everything through their emotions. They expose their fears, insecurities, jealousy, and weaknesses every time they react emotionally. They become predictable, easy to manipulate, easy to defeat. But silence creates mystery. It hides intention. It forces people to wonder what you are thinking. It makes them uncomfortable because they cannot control someone they cannot understand. While others were busy talking, you were observing. While they underestimated you, you were learning. Every conversation, every fake smile, every hidden betrayal became visible because silence gave you the ability to notice things others ignored. Quiet people see details loud people miss. They understand human nature because they spend more time listening than speaking. There is power in listening without interruption. People reveal themselves when they think nobody is paying attention. They expose their real character through small actions, careless words, and hidden behavior. Silence gave you awareness. It taught you who secretly supported you and who smiled only to hide envy. It showed you which people disappeared during hard times and which ones stayed loyal when life became difficult. Silence also became protection. In a world filled with negativity, unnecessary opinions, and constant judgment, silence protected your focus. You stopped explaining your dreams to people who could not understand them. You stopped arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped wasting energy proving yourself to those who already decided to doubt you. That silence saved your mental strength. The world rewards people who move wisely, not loudly. Many people announce goals before achieving them. They speak about success before building it. They seek attention before earning respect. But silence works differently. Silence moves in secret. Silence builds without showing. Silence allows results to peak louder than promises ever could. There is something powerful about struggling quietly. Nobody sees the sacrifices being made. Nobody notices the discipline, the sleepless nights, the loneliness, or the internal battles. While others think nothing is happening, transformation is taking place behind the scenes. Silence hides growth until the moment success becomes impossible to ignore. Some of the strongest battles happen inside the mind. The fight against self-doubt, fear, anxiety, failure, and hopelessness often happens without anyone noticing. People only see the outside version of a person. They never see the war happening internally. Silence became your shield during those moments. Instead of complaining to the world, you fought your battles privately. Instead of begging for sympathy, you focused on surviving. Silence also changes emotional strength. A person who learns to stay calm under pressure becomes difficult to defeat. Most people lose control when emotions rise. Anger controls them. Fear controls them. Ego controls them. But silence teaches patience. It teaches self-control. It teaches discipline over emotion. When others panic, you stay composed. When others CT blindly, you think carefully. That calm mindset becomes dangerous because emotional people can always be manipulated, but disciplined minds cannot. People started misunderstanding your silence because they could not read you anymore. They searched for weakness but found calmness. They searched for fear but found confidence. They searched for insecurity but found control. Your silence became intimidating because it revealed inner strength they never expected from you. Sometimes silence hurts people more than words ever could. Ignoring disrespect frustrates those seeking attention. Walking away peacefully confuses those expecting drama. Staying focused while others attack you destroys their sense of control. Silence denies enemies the reaction they desperately want. There comes a point where silence stops being sadness and starts becoming power. You no longer stay quiet because you are afraid to speak. You stay quiet because not everything deserves your attention. You realize that arguing with fools lowers your value. You realize that protecting your peace matters more than winning meaningless battles. You realize that energy is precious and should only be used for growth. Disc. Ipline and purpose. The most dangerous transformations happen quietly. A seed grows underground before becoming a tree. A storm forms silently before shaking the sky. A warrior trains in silence before entering battle. In the same way, your silence became preparation. Every moment people ignored you, doubted you, or laughed at you became another step in your evolution. They thought your silence meant weakness, but silence was never surrender. Silence was strategy. Silence was patience. Silence was the weapon that allowed you to grow stronger while nobody was watching. Betrayal changes people in ways nothing else can. Pain from enemies is expected, but pain from trusted people cuts deeper than anything. The hardest wounds are not created by strangers. They are created by the people who once promised loyalty, support, and honesty. The people you defended. The people you trusted with your secrets. The people you stood beside during difficult times. When betrayal comes from those closest to you, it destroys innocence and forces transformation. There was a time when you believed loyalty worked both ways. You believed kindness would be respected and honesty would be returned with honor. Sty. You trusted people with a pure heart, never imagining they would eventually become the source of your pain. But betrayal has a cruel way of exposing reality. It removes illusions and reveals true character. It teaches lessons no advice ever could. Some betrayals happen silently. Fake smiles hide hidden jealousy. Friendly conversations hide selfish intentions. Support disappears the moment life becomes difficult. People clap for you publicly while secretly hoping for your failure. The painful part is realizing that not everyone around you truly wants to see you succeed. Some people only stay close while they benefit from your presence. Betrayal forces a person to open their eyes. It changes the way trust works inside the mind. After being hurt enough times, you stop believing words so easily. Promises lose value. Loyalty becomes rare. You begin studying actions instead of listening to speeches. You realize people can pretend for months, even years, while hiding completely different intentions inside. The deepest pain comes when betrayal arrives during your weakest moments. When you needed support the most, people disappeared. When life became heavy, excuses replaced loyalty. Some watched you struggle without helping. Some abandoned you after benefiting from your kindness. Others betrayed you simply because they could not handle your growth. Jealousy often hides behind friendship until success exposes it. But betrayal does something powerful. It kills the weak version of you, the naive version, the version that trusted blindly and ignored warning signs. Every betrayal removes another layer of innocence and replaces it with awareness. It teaches emotional control. It teaches caution. It teaches independence. At first, betrayal feels like destruction. It feels personal. It creates anger, sadness, confusion, and disappointment. You replay memories in your mind, wondering how someone you cared about could hurt you so easily. You question yourself. You question your value. You question whether loyalty even exists anymore. But eventually, something changes inside. The pain stops feeling like weakness and starts becoming fuel. The strongest transformations often begin with heartbreak and betrayal. Pain creates emotional armor. After surviving enough disappointment, your mindset becomes colder and sharper. You stop begging people to stay. You stop chasing a provol. You stop depending on anyone for emotional stability. The person who once feared losing people slowly becomes comfortable standing alone. There is something dangerous about a person who has been betrayed too many times. They stop expecting fairness from the world. They stop trusting appearances. They stop revealing every thought and emotion. Their kindness becomes controlled. Their awareness becomes sharper. They begin protecting their energy because experience taught them how quickly people can switch sides. Betrayal also teaches self-respect. Sometimes losing people is necessary for growth. Some individuals only hold you back with negativity, manipulation, and hidden envy. Their absence feels painful at first, but eventually you realize their betrayal actually freed you. It removed distractions. It exposed fake loyalty. It forced you to grow stronger emotionally and mentally. People often think betrayal creates bitterness, but for strong minds, Betrayal creates wisdom. It teaches boundaries. It teaches discipline. It teaches emotional strength. The pain becomes a lesson instead of a prison. Instead of staying broken forever, you begin using the experience to evolve. Every betrayal changes the way you move. You become more careful with trust. You become more selective with friendships. You become more protective of your peace. Not because you hate people, but because experience taught you the cost of giving loyalty to the wrong individuals. The person who survives betrayal develops a different type of confidence. Not loud confidence built on attention or validation, but silent confidence built on survival. You realize you survived abandonment, lies, disappointment, and emotional pain without falling apart completely. That realization creates inner strength. If betrayal could not destroy you, very little else can. Many people become stronger physically through struggle, but betrayal strengthens the mind. It teaches emotional endurance. It teaches resilience during loneliness. It teaches how to continue moving forward even when trust has been shattered. It forces maturity. It forces awareness. It forces growth. The version of you before betrayal was softer, more trusting, and emotionally open. The version after betrayal becomes harder to manipulate, more observant, more disciplined, more independent. The pain changes the way you carry yourself. You stop seeking emotional validation from people because you understand how temporary human loyalty can be. Some people regret betraying you once they see your transformation. They expected pain to destroy you, not strengthen you. They thought abandonment would make you weaker, but it forced you to become self-reliant. They thought betrayal would break your confidence, but it actually built emotional power inside you. The same pain meant to destroy your spirit became the reason your mindset evolved into something far stronger, colder, and impossible to control. There was a time when people saw your struggles and immediately judged your strength. They looked at your failures, your quiet nature, your patience, and your kindness, then decided you were weak. They believed strength only belonged to loud people, aggressive people, and those who constantly demanded attention. They mistook calmness for fear and humility for insecurity. Every time you stayed silent instead of arguing, they thought you had no courage. Every time you chose peace over conflict, they assumed you lacked power. But weakness and patience are not the same thing. Real weakness is giving up when life becomes pain. Enful. Real weakness is allowing fear to control every decision. Real weakness is depending on others to survive emotionally. What people called weakness in you was actually endurance. You survived situations that would have destroyed many others. You carried pressure without complaining. You endured pain without showing the world every wound. You continued moving forward while fighting battles nobody could see. People only respect strength when it becomes visible. Before success arrives, they laugh at discipline. Before confidence appears, they mock struggle. Before power becomes obvious, they underestimate potential. That is why many strong people spend years being misunderstood. The world judges based on appearances, not hidden battles. There were moments when even you questioned yourself. Moments where exhaustion made you feel small. Moments where criticism echoed loudly in your mind. Every failure felt heavy. Every rejection felt personal. Every disappointment made you wonder if people were right about you. But inside all that pain, something stronger was quietly growing. Fearless strength is not created instantly. It develops slowly through suffering, failure, loneliness, and survival. Every painful experience removes another layer of fear. Every difficult chapter teaches emotional control. Every obstacle builds resilience. Over time, the same person who once doubted themselves becomes mentally unbreakable. Pain changes perspective. Once life forces you through enough darkness, ordinary problems stop scaring you. Criticism loses power. Judgment becomes meaningless. Fear slowly disappears because you already survived situations worse than what most people can imagine. A person who has survived emotional pain, betrayal, failure, and loneliness develops a different kind of courage. The strongest people are not fearless because life was easy. They are fearless because life repeatedly tested them until fear itself became familiar. When a person survives enough storms, they stop panicking when rain appears. Struggle teaches adaptation. Pain teaches endurance. Survival teaches confidence. You started realizing that many people project their own weakness onto others. They attack those they secretly envy. They mock those they do not understand. They underestimate quiet individuals because they mistake silence for insecurity. But strength does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes the strongest people are the calmest ones in the room. The transformation from weakness to strength begins mentally before it becomes visible externally. At first, nobody notices the changes happening inside you. They do not see the mindset becoming sharper. They do not see the emotional control developing quietly. They do not see discipline replacing insecurity. While others continue judging the old version of you, a stronger version is already being built in silence. Fearless strength also means learning to stand alone. Many people only feel powerful when surrounded by support and validation. But true strength appears when a person continues moving forward without applause. When nobody believes in you, but you still believe in yourself. When loneliness no longer weakens you. When rejection no longer controls your confidence. There comes a point where pain stops hurting the same way, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Situations that once broke your spirit now become temporary obstacles. Opinions that once destroyed your confidence no longer matter. Fear begins losing control over your decisions because experience taught you that survival is possible even during the darkest moments. People notice the change eventually. The same person they once dismissed now carries different energy. Your posture changes. Your mindset changes. Your presence changes. There is calmness in the way you speak and confidence in the way you move. You no longer seek approval because your value no longer depends on external opinions. Fearless strength is dangerous because it cannot easily be manipulated. Once a person learns emotional control, pressure loses its effect. Once someone survives enough pain, threats stop working. Once someone discovers inner strength, validation becomes unnecessary. You stopped explaining yourself to people determined to misunderstand you. You stopped wasting energy proving your worth. You stopped shrinking yourself to make insecure people comfortable. The fear of judgment slowly disappeared because pain taught you something important. No matter what you do, some people will always criticize you. The weak version of you cared too much about acceptance. The stronger version focuses on growth. The weak version feared failure. The stronger version understands failure as part of transform. Action. The weak version avoided pain. The stronger version uses pain as fuel. Every difficult experience contributed to this transformation. Every insult toughened your mindset. Every betrayal increased your awareness. Every lonely night strengthened your independence. The pressure that once felt unbearable eventually became training. The struggles people used to mock became the exact reason your confidence evolved into fearless strength. Now when people look at you, they no longer see weakness. They see control. They see discipline. They see resilience built through survival. The same person they once underestimated became someone impossible to intimidate because pain transformed fear into strength, doubt into confidence, and weakness into something powerful enough to survive anything. There was a time when people had endless opinions about you. They criticized your struggles, mocked your failures, and laughed at your dreams. Every mistake became entertainment for them. Every setback became proof, in their eyes, that you would never become anything important. They doubted your abilities because they only judged what they could see in the present moment. They never imagined that the same person they ignored would eventually rise high enough to silence every voice that once spoke against them. People are quick to judge unfinished stories. They see someone struggling and assume they are weak forever. They see someone fail and assume success will never come. Most people lack patience. They cannot imagine transformation because they only believe in visible results. They never understand the amount of growth happening quietly behind the scenes. Success has a strange effect on people. The same individuals who ignored you suddenly begin paying attention. The same people who laughed at your efforts suddenly act supportive. Success changes the way the world treats you, even when your character remains the same. Respect that was once impossible to earn suddenly appears the moment results become visible. But the journey toward success is never easy. Before success silences everyone, struggle forces you through loneliness, doubt, exhaustion, and sacrifice. Nobody sees the hidden work. Nobody notices the discipline required to keep moving when progress feels slow. They only notice success after it becomes impossible to ignore. There were moments when quitting seemed easier. Days when failure felt repeated and endless. Times when you questioned whether your efforts would ever matter. Every obstacle tested your patience. Every disappointment challenged your confidence. But despite all of it, you continued pushing forward while people continued doubting you. Most people give up too early because they crave immediate results. They want recognition before earning it. They want rewards before sacrifice. But real success demands endurance. It demands consistency during painful moments. It demands belief even when nothing around you confirms that belief. While others wasted time talking, criticizing, and doubting, you focused on growth. Every difficult day became preparation. Every setback became experience. Every failure became another lesson sharpening your mindset. Slowly, without people realizing it, you started changing. Success is built quietly. Long before the world notices achievement, invisible progress is already taking place. Discipline begins shaping habits. Pain begins building resilience. Small victories slowly create momentum. The strongest transformations happen privately before becoming public. The people who once underestimated usually only remember your starting point. They continue viewing you through the image of your weakest moments. They cannot imagine you evolving beyond the version they once knew. That is why your success shocks them. They expected struggle to destroy you, not strengthen you. There is power in proving people wrong without arguing with them. Instead of wasting energy defending yourself, you allowed results to speak. Instead of responding to criticism emotionally, you focused on improvement. Instead of seeking revenge through words, you chose growth. Success became your response to every insult, every rejection, and every moment of disrespect. Nothing frustrates doubters more than watching someone they underestimated rise beyond expectations. They become confused because they built an image of weakness in their minds, and reality no longer matches it. The person they once mocked now carries confidence, discipline, and strength they cannot ignore anymore. Success also changes your mindset. The need for validation slowly disappears. You stop caring about proving yourself to people because your achievements already speak loudly enough. The opinions that once hurt you begin losing meaning. The same criticism that once created insecurity now feels irrelevant because experience taught you your value. There is a unique confidence that comes from surviving struggle and eventually succeeding. It is not fake confidence built on attention or approval. It is quiet confidence built through discipline, sacrifice, and persistence. You know what it took to survive difficult times. You remember the nights nobody believed in you. You remember the pressure, the loneliness, and the exhaustion. That memory creates strength impossible to fake. People often assume success happens overnight because they only notice the final result. They do not see years of effort hidden behind one moment of achievement. They do not see the emotional battles fought privately. They do not see the discipline required to continue when motivation disappeared. Success may look sudden to outsiders, but to the person who earned it, success is usually the result of surviving countless painful moments without quitting. The most satisfying part is not fame, money, or recognition. The most satisfying part is realizing you survived everything designed to stop you. Every person who doubted you became background noise. Every obstacle that once seemed impossible became proof of your growth. Every painful experience contributed to the success people now admire. Success creates silence because results are difficult to argue against. People who once criticized suddenly lose their words. Excuses disappear. Mockery disappears. Doubt disappears. Achievement forces people to acknowledge reality even when their pride resists it. Some people become bitter when they see your growth because your success reminds them of their own excuses. They mocked your discipline while remaining lazy. They doubted your dreams while abandoning their own goals. They underestimated your mindset because they never expected consistency to defeat talent, opinions, and negativity. The strongest revenge is silent success. Not revenge built through hatred, but revenge built through transformation. Becoming stronger, wiser, disciplined, and successful without seeking approval creates a level of respect that words alone can never achieve. The same voices that once laughed eventually fade into silence, because success has a way of exposing every person who underestimated your potential. There was a time when your me meant nothing to people. It passed through conversations unnoticed. Nobody expected greatness from you. Nobody imagined strength behind your silence. To many, you were just another ordinary person trying to survive life. Some ignored you completely, while others looked down on you because they believed you lacked power, confidence, or importance. They spoke to you without respect because they thought you would never become more than the version they first saw. People often judge names before they understand stories. They hear a name and attach assumptions to it based on appearances, failures, or temporary struggles. They never realize that behind some names are hidden battles, silent sacrifices, and minds slowly preparing for transformation. A name only becomes powerful after the person behind it survives enough pain to give it meaning. Your journey changed the way people reacted to your presence. At first, nobody paid attention when you entered a room. Your opinions were ignored. Your potential was underestimated. But struggle has a way of building something dangerous inside a person. Every difficult experience slowly changed your mindset, your confidence, and your energy. AF. Time. The same people who once ignored your name began speaking it differently. Respect cannot be demanded through words alone. True respect is earned through survival, discipline, resilience, and results. The world does not fear empty talk. It fears people who quietly build power through experience. It fears individuals who survive situations designed to destroy them. It fears people who stop seeking approval and begin moving with confidence. There is something intimidating about a person who transformed through pain. They carry themselves differently. They no longer react emotionally to every challenge. Their calmness becomes unsettling because it reveals control. Their confidence becomes dangerous because it no longer depends on validation from others. Your name began changing because your actions changed. You stopped wasting energy trying to convince people of your worth. You stopped chasing acceptance from those determined to doubt you. Instead, you focused on growth. Quietly, step by step, you became stronger mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. People started noticing the difference. The same person they once underestimated now carried discipline they could not understand. Your focus became sharper. Your mindset became stronger. Your silence became heavier. There was intensity in your presence because pain had reshaped your entire character. Names gain power through reputation. Reputation is built through consistency. Every time you survived another obstacle, your reputation grew stronger. Every time you stayed calm under pressure, people noticed. Every time you rose after failure, your name gained more weight. Over time, your story became impossible to ignore. The world respects resilience because resilience cannot be faked. Anyone can appear strong during easy moments, but only a few remain standing after repeated hardship. Those who watched your struggles secretly expected you to break eventually. They believed pressure would destroy your confidence. They believed failure would weaken your spirit. But instead of collapsing, you adapted. Every painful chapter made you stronger. There comes a point where your name alone creates reactions. Some people feel inspired by it. Others feel intimidated. Some remember your transformation and realize how badly they underestimated you. Others stay silent because your growth exposes their own weakness. Sections. A powerful reputation changes how people behave around you. Your name became connected to survival. People remembered the obstacles you overcame. They remembered the betrayals that failed to destroy you. They remembered the failures you turned into lessons. They remembered the pressure you carried without giving up. That history created respect naturally. Fear is not always created through aggression. Sometimes fear comes from unpredictability. People fear individuals who have nothing left to prove because those individuals cannot easily be controlled. Once someone survives enough pain, they stop fearing judgment, rejection, and failure the way ordinary people do. That emotional freedom creates presence. The version of you they once mocked no longer exists. Pain replaced innocence with awareness. Struggle replaced insecurity with discipline. Loneliness replaced dependence with self-reliance. Your transformation became visible not just through success, but through energy. The way you speak changed. The way you think changed. The way you respond to problems changed. Some people began respecting your name because they admired your strength. Others respected it because they understood. Everyone understood you were no longer someone they could manipulate or disrespect easily. The person who once tolerated everything quietly had evolved into someone mentally untouchable. There is power in becoming unforgettable. Not through arrogance or cruelty, but through transformation so intense that people cannot ignore it anymore. Your name became connected to resilience, discipline, and survival because every difficult experience added another layer to your identity. The same people who once laughed at your dreams now hesitate before speaking about you. The same individuals who once ignored your existence now watch your progress carefully. Some envy you for your growth because they never expected you to rise beyond the limitations they placed on you mentally. A respected name is never built during comfort. It is built during struggle, sacrifice, and endurance. Every scar adds history to it. Every obstacle adds meaning to it. Every painful lesson strengthens it. Over time, your name stopped representing weakness and started representing power created through survival. Now when people hear your name, they remember transformation. They remember discipline. They remember someone who refused to stay broken despite pressure, betrayal, failure, and pain. The same world that once dismissed your existence now reacts differently because your journey turned an ordinary name into something unforgettable. Intimidating. and impossible to overlook.